have done the work to come up with your business name and some of your branding and your unique selling proposition. You've done some work on your website and your social profiles, getting those ready. It's time to start thinking about going out and getting those very first customers. But before you can actually go out and get those first customers, we need to get really specific about what you're going to sell them first. Now, some training programs that teach social media management or local business marketing are going to give you exact packages to sell and go by, but I'm not going to do that. What I want to do with you is I'm going to show you what I do and my different packages, and I'm going to give you a few things to think about when you're putting yours together. And the reason is because I don't know for sure if I've ever sold the exact same package twice. I'm always in the listening of the customer, right? So I'm always listening to what the customer's needs and concerns are, and I have some basic parameters for how I package and price things, but I'm almost always listening to the customer and devising some sort of solution that is very specific for them to meet their needs. So what I want you to do is listen to this module kind of as a guide, and I will give you some sample packages that you can use to get started with, especially if you haven't sold a single package yet. These will give you some guidelines. But as your business grows and as you get better at this and as you spend more time with your ideal clients, I want you to know that these packages and these prices will change and morph over time, and that will be totally up to you as the owner of your business. Okay, so you're not set in stone in any of this here, but you want to use it as a guide, a place to kind of jump off from and then get creating what works for you and for your customers in the different service offerings. So let's talk about the different types of services that as a social media manager, I do sell. So for instance, sometimes people will come to me and they want some kind of just profile setup. So this will be the case where they think that they're going to handle their social media themselves in-house. Either, the business owner themselves is going to do it, or they've got a VA or an assistant, or they're going to hire a social media manager or something like that. But this is where they just want to come and they want their profiles set up in the optimal way, and they would hire me to set up a Twitter account, set up a Facebook fan page, set up a Pinterest account, something like that. So profile setup, and we'll talk more about the specifics of it, but profile setup is one service that I sell, and I sell it quite frequently. These are kind of my top sellers that we're going through here. The second one is routine maintenance. The routine maintenance is kind of that daily maintenance of making sure that anybody who's reached out to the business, anybody who's followed them, anybody who's sent a private message or has posted on their wall with a customer support issue, that those things are addressed. So this is more of like a defensive package where we're just making sure that the profiles are all managed and up to date and that everything's responded to. But this isn't a big offensive package, or this isn't one where we're being really proactive in growing the account for the client, right? So this will be you'll see this routine maintenance in what I call my basic package. It actually comes in every package, but the routine maintenance is the heart of the most basic package, where you can just assist a business in being present and answering the questions that their customers have. Kind of going on something different that you may not have thought about with social media management is something called reputation management. And for the most part, we handle reputation monitoring for clients, and what that means is we're monitoring the social networks to see what people are saying about them, what people are saying about their industry, their products, their competitors, right? And reputation management would be when there's something that needs responding to, that we would either write a blog post or create some tweets or take some action to actually manage the reputation. So again, for the most part, what we'll be doing, and again, don't worry, I'm going to go into more detail about all of these here shortly. We do a lot of reputation monitoring, and then when an issue does come up, we generally pass that off to the client for them to actually manage. But in our, for our very hands-on clients and the ones that are in my largest service packages, we do offer the reputation management, where we actually help to assist in responding and managing whatever that reputation issue is. And then increasingly important is content creation and distribution. So content creation in the past, I would say up until about the last year or so, content creation has really meant taking a client's blog posts or maybe a book that they've written, or whatever training materials that they may have, manuals that they may have for their staff, and socializing that content is what kind of the little word I've given it, which means breaking it down into bite-sized chunks about things that you can share on Twitter, things you can share on Facebook, and taking these large, like let's say they have an ebook or a training manual that's a couple hundred pages long. Someone needs to go through and read all of that and pull out the important material and make it such that it's easy to share. That it's easy to share on the social networks. And the sharing part is the distribution part, so distributing it to all of their different social networks. Well, increasingly important these days is the visual content creation as well. So that's where we're talking about graphics, photos, and videos. So this might be something where we go through and we read a client's book, and then we're creating little graphics that have the quotes on them. So we're not just pulling out the quotes and saving them in like a Word document or something. We're actually having them made into graphics or turning them into videos. And so content creation really has evolved over the last year with the rise of the visual web. And so there are a lot of different services that you could offer here, and a couple of different ways to create some upsells and some additional income from the content creation service that you could provide. So I'll just tell you, it doesn't always work this way, but pretty common. A typical sales funnel for me is that a new client will come in and they'll be interested in social media and hiring someone to manage their social media, but oftentimes they really don't understand all that it takes. And particularly with my clients, and you may find this for yours as well, when they first come to you, although they want some help with their social media and social media management, they really don't understand everything that it takes. And so they have this opinion that they can do it themselves. And so they'll come to me and they'll say, okay, great. Well, I really think I'm going to do the daily, posting and all of that myself, or my VA is going to do that. So what I would like is if you could just, set up our profiles or optimize our profiles or create a Facebook fan page for us, or do something that is what I'm calling here a one-time service, okay? So let's just say the client comes in and they just want us to create a custom tab for them on their Facebook page. That's you'll hear more about those in the implementation module, but that's the tab where they can basically have some features and some functionality like their website on their Facebook page. So they might just hire us to just do that for them. So we'll implement that tab for them. We'll execute that tab. We'll have the graphics done and the coding done, and it'll all work the way they want it. It'll be nice and pretty with a little icon made, right? We'll do all that. And I'll do a little follow-up call with the client just to show them the tab, show them how it works, let them know, what they need to do, if they need to make changes to it, or, basically just to kind of wrap things up, get their sign off on it so that I know that they're happy with it. They don't want any more changes. And then they can pay me for it if they haven't already, and we can go our separate ways. The biggest and most common one-time service that people want from me is an evaluation and a roadmap. So most of the time they say, okay, I'm using social media and I don't know if it's working or not, and I'd love for you to take a look at what I'm doing and tell me what I'm doing well, what I need to work on, what am I missing here? How can I make this profitable? And so the most common one-time service that people hire me for is the evaluation. Once I do the evaluation, I then also do a follow-up call, just like I explained, and I walk them through my findings. And I say, okay, here's what I found. Here's what I think you're doing well. Here's the places where I think you're leaving money on the table. If I were you, I would be doing these things. Here's what some of your competitors are doing, and here's the places where I think you should make changes. oftentimes that report of findings is very overwhelming for a client. And they're really not sure exactly what to do from there. But they're still of the mindset that they believe that they can do this themselves, which I believe is a credit mostly to the fact that the media really talks about how every business should be doing social media and how easy it is. And there's a lot of education and material out there about managing social media on your own. So if a client is still after the evaluation or after the one-time service of the mindset that after the evaluation that they still want to do it themselves, oftentimes they will move and ask for tech help. So they'll say, "Great, I really appreciate your report of findings. I may have had some website suggestions. I may have suggested that they create that custom tab that they maybe don't have on Facebook yet. I may have made some other suggestions in terms of getting some graphics and some branding work done." And oftentimes they will say, "Great, I'm still planning on managing this myself, but do you think that you can help me with that technical implementation, all of your recommendations that were in the technical and graphics realm?" And so that's where you can see they move one step along in the sales funnel. Now, sometimes people do take that evaluation and they take it and the report of findings, and they take it and they go off on their own and they implement everything on their own, and that's perfectly fine. That's why it's called a one-time service, and I'm totally okay with that. And also sometimes people do skip down to a done for you straight from that, where they go, "Okay, this is way too overwhelming. There's too much to do here. Can you just do all this for me?" But oftentimes they want to move into a tech help package. And so I say, "Great, that's no problem. We'll take our report of findings. We'll implement all of the technical and graphical recommendations for you. And then at that point, you can go on to manage your stuff yourself." And people will say, "Great." So like I mentioned before, we'll have the graphics done, we'll have the programming done, we'll set everything up, and then I will have the call once again where I want to kind of give them an overview of the tab or of the changes that we made, of everything that we did, and get their final approval and sign off. And a lot of times at this point, a client will ask if I have some recommendations, or if I would mind spending a little bit of time with them, just telling them what they need to do every day, or helping them devise a good plan of action or a good checklist for their VA or their assistant who's actually going to manage it. And that's where you'll see they'll move down into a training or consulting package, okay? So they've asked for a roadmap, and then they've wanted some technical help, and now they're asking for just a little bit of training so that they can manage it themselves. So then I would move into a training or consulting package where I would spend some time either working directly with them or their VA or their team, however it works out, doing a few hours worth of online training help, where I would help them devise their checklist and their plan of action moving forward, so that they have it really efficient and everyone knows what their tasks are and what their roles and responsibilities are, and what they're what they're going to be held accountable for by the client. And that's what those little training sessions are. And then sometimes you have a client through the training sessions who will say, "You know what, I appreciate you teaching me all of this. It's way too overwhelming. Would you mind just doing it for me?" And that's where we move to the done for you. So you'll kind of have clients who will either go, who will go somewhere in here, but these are the basic 4 categories that I try to move people through. Even when they come to me and they're saying they want to hire a monthly done for you service, I want to start them off at the evaluation or audit phase, because I want to be able to maximize the amount of profit that I make from this client. And if I skip just straight down to the done for you, then I miss the opportunity to sell them into an evaluation or audit. So kind of what that looks like is, "Hey you guys, great, yeah, I'd love to work with you. So here's how it works. All of my clients, when they come to me first, we do an evaluation and roadmap. This gets all of us on the same page. It exposes the issues that you're having. It'll show what you're doing well. And so before we can move into any kind of done for you, the first thing that we want to do is get a really clear roadmap. So If you guys are interested in working with me, then the first thing we should do is get you all set up to do an evaluation and roadmap. And, here's what that will include. And then from there, we can look at what is the most appropriate package, on the findings call when I've finished your roadmap and we are discussing it. I'll be able to tell you exactly, make recommendations, exactly which package you should be in, what kind of services that you need, but I can't tell you that until I get in and do your evaluation and audit, okay? All right, so that's just a good kind of overview of the typical sales funnel, and again, with the different types of services that you're going to be offering as a social media manager. So let's talk about these. Again, we said some of those one-time services could be that evaluation, audit, roadmap, whatever you want to call it. Another one-time service that I've offered where a client just comes, they pay for one thing, and then I never, engage with them again, or, there's no movement in the funnel, is creating that Facebook fan page custom tab or any of the graphics or technical development. And then also training and consulting. I do a lot of training and consulting now. That's actually more so what I do than the done-for-you stuff, even though the done-for-you stuff is what we're going to talk about a lot here in your social media manager training program. But consulting or training is something like I have a client right now where I'm going in-house. I go to their office. I've gone 3 times. I have one more session with them, and then we'll be done. And I'm training their staff on what they need to be doing daily, weekly, monthly, in order to keep their social media growing and to keep it efficient for the entire team. So those are good one-time services that you can offer. And, when a client comes to you, you got to kind of figure out what their budget is and what they need. And this particular client, probably should be going into some kind of done for you. But I could tell on our first few meetings when they mentioned the word, low on resources, low on budget, low on funds, that it was going to be the kind of client where they were going to want to do it themselves. And so I knew it was better to try to sell them into some consulting or training to get better at doing it themselves than trying to lock them into some long-term contract where I'm doing it for them over a period of time, and that would definitely be more expensive for them. And so, like I mentioned, it comes back to really listening to the client in those initial meetings so that you can figure out what's the best service to offer them. Some of the technical help, again, setting up the profiles, networking their profiles together and engaging those with their current website, setting up that custom tab again. The graphics package that I've mentioned, we'll talk more about that, where you're getting their cover image done, maybe their backgrounds for Twitter, stuff like that. And then just depending on where you are in your business and what other types of services and stuff you want to offer, sometimes you might offer a WordPress blog setup along with their social media setup stuff, but that's really for those of you who decide to take on WordPress as well as social media management. There are a tons of additional services like WordPress, that search engine optimization we've talked about, mobile marketing, local marketing, email marketing, the whole branding stuff that we talked about in Module 2. There's a lot of additional services, cross-sells, upsells that you can add on and sell to your clients. I'm, of course, recommending when you first get started that you stick to social media management, and that if you do sell anything else that you outsource it. But if you've got particular skill or expertise in something else, or you just want to add some additional services to what you're doing to increase your revenue, by all means, I'm not going to tell you that you can't do that. You absolutely can. This is your business. I'm not giving you some templated out, preset business that you have to run. But you don't want to get overwhelmed either. So if you're not, proficient yet in one of those skills, then selling it may not be the smartest idea. But as you become more skilled, or if you know somebody who is skilled in that area, then adding some of these additional services may be a good idea to help grow your agency and kind of become a one-stop shop for your clients. Now, the training or consulting, I do a couple of different ways. We can do a 1-hour web conference, Q&A, where they can ask questions. I offer 3-hour custom training sessions where we would either do 3 1-hour sessions or 2 1.5-hour sessions. And again, this is via web. I do the on-site or in-house consulting, like I mentioned, where I may do a half day or a full day, or they'll sign up for a certain number of hours with me. And then I even do 3-hour small group live training events for different businesses where they can get together a team of maybe 4 or 5 people within their organization that want to come to the event, and then I would train for 3 hours, either in-house at their organization or at some other location. But these are all packages that when a client comes to me, if I know that they need training and consulting, then this is where I'm looking for, okay, what would best suit them, right? So that when I'm making my proposal or my presentation, I kind of can tell, I've kind of got some different options for them, or, I have a recommendation for them based on what they've said to me, where I know that their budget is and what I think would logistically work best for them. Obviously, if I have a client that's across the country that's got an unlimited budget, I'm going to recommend an on-site or in-house consulting where they would fly me out, right? They would put me up in a hotel, they would pay my expenses, and they would pay for either the half or full day of training, even a day and a half, 2 days of training. But if that's not the case, then I would recommend the a web training. I've done the gamut of all. If they're here in Austin, I can easily offer a half or a full day training where they don't really need to cover too much of my expenses, because for the most part, I just have to drive to their office. And, the one I'm working with right now is less than 10 miles away from me. So it's literally a hop, skip, and a jump. It takes me about 15 minutes to get there. And then I spend a couple of hours in their office working with their team, and I turn around and come home. So there's not really a lot of time lost there. But if I do have to get on a plane and I do have to fly somewhere, then I do charge my travel expenses to them in addition to my fee for being in the office. Now, when you get to those routine maintenance and the daily management packages, I offer 3 basic levels of service. And again, these can be customized, but there's a basic package. This is where I talked about where it's very defensive. This is just for that client that really just wants some help making sure that their profiles are maintained and updated, where they don't want to think about it, but they're not really wanting to make a huge investment in social. I personally don't sell these packages anymore, but that's because, quite honestly, to be perfectly transparent, there are enough of you guys out there that can manage these clients and need these types of clients that I don't feel like I need to worry about them. So I generally refer them to my best students and my best clients, the ones that are in my mastermind. My social media manager mastermind gets a lot of my leads for basic packages because they've done some extended training with me beyond this social media manager training that you're watching now. They've done some one-on-one training with me, and so I'm able to confidently pass off leads that I get to that group of people that are in my social media manager mastermind. So that's the basic package, and it basically takes about 30 minutes a day, consists of logging in and doing some basic cleanup, maybe posting a couple of status updates, and it might even be only 30 minutes to an hour a week that you do this package for this client. Really kind of depends on how you set it up. I have my middle of the road package, which I still sell a couple of these, but I try to stay away from them. It's a business package or a small business package. This takes about 1 to 2 hours a day, so we're beginning to pick up a few more services in here. We're taking a more proactive approach, but this still isn't a client who has ready to go all in or like they're ready to hire a full-time social media manager. And then we have the celebrity package, or the deluxe package, or the platinum package, whatever you want to call yours. And this is where basically they have a full-time social media manager. It's almost just the same, just a little bit more cost effective for them to outsource it instead of hire a full-time employee. And these guys I'm spending, between my VA's work and my work, that we spend a couple hours a day working on their stuff. We probably post maybe 5 to 7 times a day per platform. And these are the people that we work very, very closely with. We know what content they're creating for their blogs and their email newsletters. And we're very much a part of the online marketing team that they have. Even though we don't work in their office or right there with them, we are a virtual team member. But this is a business that we're very integrated with, and we spend a lot of time working and consulting with, okay? So we want to talk about some of the different package features that you would put in each of those different packages, okay? Anything from basic profile management, we've talked about some of these, the content distribution. When we're talking about doing some more proactive activities, we're talking about audience targeting and audience building in social media. Maybe we're doing some Facebook ads for them. Maybe we're doing some following on Twitter for them, okay? Reputation monitoring, we talked about. This is part of our listening campaign, where we want to know what is being said about the client across the web and across the social networks. We also want to know what is being said about their industry, about their niche, about their competitors, about their products. Maybe even about some of their employees, some of their key employees, like maybe the CEO is, like of Zappos. I'm sure they monitor, their internet marketing team monitors mentions of Tony Hsieh from Zappos, because he's such an integral part of their business that if something negative is said about Tony Hsieh, it has an impact on Zappos. So oftentimes, for our clients, we're not only monitoring what's being said about the business, but we may be monitoring what's being said about the business owner as well. We are partners with the customer support team or the customer service team and answering questions about anything at all, how to get a login, how to get a refund, maybe why somebody hasn't received their order yet, or they're having trouble on their website. Anything that would be, customer support centric, we can definitely provide as a service. Engagement is just the follow-up conversation. When you post something on a fan page, I have one fan page where I can post a question, I might get 400 to 500 responses. Some of those responses should be engaged with. There's follow-up engagement that needs to happen. That is what social media is all about, right? That's what it's all about, right? That you want to have the conversation there. It's not just a one-to-many communication. You need to follow up and speak back to people when they post. Now, if you're getting overwhelmed right now, don't, because the implementation module is where I'm going to teach you exactly what each of these means and what you need to do. But for now, you need to know what they are, and then we're going to talk about how to package them up and price them and sell them, so that in the next module, which is the Finding Clients module, you can actually go out and look for clients and sell them into some of these packages, okay? And then we'll definitely get into exactly what it means and how to do it and where to click and all the tactics, right? But the engagement is the conversation. So this is where we speak to them in maybe I guess in more of a conversation tone and a pedestrian tone, right? Where we're speaking back to them as the business, and we're responding to their response to whatever we posted. Obviously, we offer strategic consulting as part of the packages, depending on what level of service a client buys into. That will dictate how much of my time strategically consulting with them that they get. So again, with those clients that are in the really high level packages, then they're getting more strategic consulting from me than a client who's in a basic package who literally gets maybe a one-time upfront strategy consultation with me, and then may not get another one after that until the next quarter or until they re-up their contract. Reputation monitoring, reputation management, we've kind of touched on those. So from the monitoring, if there's something that actually needs to get managed, so there might be some content creation there, there might be some There might be some distribution that needs to happen. There might be some crisis management that needs to happen. And so reputation management is definitely a very advanced service that we only offer our most advanced clients. But reputation monitoring is something that's fairly easy to do with just software. And so your middle of the road clients, you can very easily offer reputation monitoring as a feature in any of your packages there. Content creation we've talked about, whether that's coming up with the status updates yourselves, creating little graphics or images for them to use, helping them put together little videos. Maybe you're just offer content creation guidance and you're not the one actually writing the blog posts or creating the tweets or whatever, but that's for you to work out between your client. Again, content creation is something that is a sliding scale here, and depending on what package they're in is how much content we will create versus depending on them to create the content. In that very most basic package, I might depend on the client to kind of give me ideas for tweets and content that they want posted, and I'll take it from there, whereas I can, if I have time to do the research and do the investigation and spend some time thinking and coming up with really good content in a larger package because I've got a little bit more budget, so I have a little more time to work there. Facebook ads and contest management. This is definitely not something that I offer in a recurring package unless people add it on as an add-on. So for instance, I would have my monthly package for a deluxe client or celebrity client, whatever in that biggest package that we have. And then if they wanted to run Facebook ads at the same time, or occasionally or quarterly, I might suggest that they run some sort of contest to generate more fans and more leads to their pages. In that case, they would pay extra. So you have an upsell into Facebook ad management or contest management. And then for sure, blog management, something I don't do very often. Most often the clients manage their own blog. I'm just there to kind of give recommendations and feedback. But if a client wants us to manage their blog and make sure that their content is posted, that it's tagged properly, that it's scheduled, or they want us to reply to comments on their blog, that is a service that we can offer as well. So the next thing that we're going to get into is what of all of those features, how do you arrange them and how do you what packages do each of those go into, okay? And then we're going to talk about pricing shortly after that. So let's talk about basic profile management first. This is probably in the beginning, the package that you're going to sell the most as you're getting started. And the reason that is because this is the one you're going to be most comfortable selling because it doesn't require a lot of strategy, a lot of upper level thinking from you. This is going to be one where you are in partnership with the business to really post whatever they're up to. And this is a great package to sell to get your feet wet, practice selling, get your first few clients under your belt, and then you can begin to grow your agency from there. So basic profile management consists of basically accepting or declining or following back people who reach out to the business, depending on which networks you are managing for the client. It also consists of replying to any inbox or private messages that the client gets, and making sure that their profile is free from clutter or spam on any of their walls or any of the public places where their customers can post, okay? It may also consist of you posting 1 to 2 status updates per day or maybe even per week on each of their social profiles. So those are the different tasks that are included in basic profile management. And again, all of my clients have access to basic profile management. It's just that is the main, the basic profile management is the main feature included in a basic package, and it's a very small part of what's included in my larger packages. Content distribution as a feature includes posting status updates to their different profiles. This, like on Pinterest, for instance, would include uploading the photos and ensuring that they are tagged properly and put on the right boards and that kind of thing, or as simple on Twitter as just posting the status update. Content distribution also includes reposting existing blog content, all their different articles, maybe their audios, their videos from YouTube, right? Any content that they have that's posted publicly online that you can find, you can use and distribute basically through their social media networks, so they get a second review, or so they have a second chance to be viewed, or multiple chances to be viewed. So when I have a client, they create new content regularly, but at the same time, they also have past content which can be redistributed through their social media networks to give them sort of a second life, to get another round of eyeballs, another round of comments, and the like. So reposting existing content is part of content distribution. Links to their current promotions, whether that be a contest or a sale, a coupon, or maybe it's a freebie offer that they're giving away for somebody to opt in and get their to get something for free. Maybe it's a telesummit or a webinar registration, or a discount on a product or something. Whatever their current promotion, you want to add that into the mix. In the implementation module, we'll talk about what percentage of the time you should be doing promotions versus content versus engagement. But if you're just doing the engagement and you're just posting content and you're not ever sharing any of the products or offers that your client has, then they're never going to be doing any business through social media. It kind of makes doing the engagement and the content distribution somewhat pointless, right? So you do want to be friendly, and you do want to be engaging and talk to people, and you do want to share valuable content that's free, like the articles and the blog posts or the YouTube videos. But when you've done that and you've created goodwill, part of the content that you want to distribute are going to be their promotions, okay? Cross-pointing. What I mean by this is you want to point them to their other social media profiles, other places they could get value. For instance, you might tweet about subscribing to their YouTube channel to get great YouTube videos, and to let their Twitter followers know that they have good YouTube videos. Or if you have a group on LinkedIn or something that is really active, you may post on your Facebook page that you have this private LinkedIn group where there's lots of great questions. So you want to point to their other social media profiles as part of your content distribution, or part of the status updates that you do for them. And then, of course, you may not always be immediately available to post at all the appropriate times. And so one of the things you may do, like at the beginning of a week, or at the beginning of each day, or at the end of the day even maybe, is set up some auto posting status updates to go at different times throughout the next day or the next week. And so that would be part of your content distribution tasks. Audience building is all about growing that audience that follows them in social media. So whether that be fans on, no matter what you call them, fans, or quote likes on Facebook, followers on Twitter, connections on LinkedIn, followers on is kind of the term that we use most often, but growing that fan base, growing the follower base is something that you do as part of your audience building services. Now, sometimes you have particular audiences that you're looking to reach out to, for instance, bloggers or influencers, social media influencers, or people that are maybe not influential online, but are influential in the niche or market that your client is in. Media is another outreach activity that you might do, where you're specifically reaching out to journalists and reporters, again, trying to get some exposure for your client. But basically, this consists of searching for the right kinds of people, whether it be one of these influencers or a media person, or if it's just you're searching for your client's target customer. You follow them or connect with them on their social media profiles, and begin to talk and engage with them. This is the beginning of relationship building, and that is the foundation of building this audience. So, first kind of step here is to identify, well, what is the audience that we are targeting and why are we targeting them? What's the objective that we're trying to reach here? And then once I've determined that, I can do the mechanics of finding that audience, following them or connecting with them, and then beginning to engage with them so we begin to develop a relationship with those people on behalf of our client. I feel like I've talked about this one quite a bit in this video, reputation monitoring. So using Google Alerts and search.twitter.com. Again, searching for names, company names, and product names. There's also a listening software out there. So there's like applications that you can use to data mine for this reputation management. And we'll talk about some of those in the analytics and reporting module, which I believe is module 5, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 6. Anyways, it comes a little bit later after the implementation module. And then some crisis management. So how do you deal with the results of the monitoring? That becomes reputation management. And how do you deal with positive and negative reviews, or how do you deal with blog posts or mentions that are positive or negative? How do you deal with those things that you find in your reputation monitoring? Customer support, again, it's kind of self-explanatory here. How do you respond to public and private inquiries? How do you direct customers to get the help that they're looking for? Do you interface with your client support team directly? And is there a way to create like a frequently asked questions, maybe that customers can reach on Facebook, or that you can use internally for you, so that you can quickly and easily answer questions that customers have that come in through social media, because social media will start to become the first line of defense, or that first line, where your customers reach out to immediately because they feel like they have access to you that way, and they also feel like you're a little vulnerable in that space, so customers do tend to kind of try to take advantage of that. So you want to be prepared and ready to answer questions quickly and easily, and have a system for working with your client to ensure that those customers get dealt with and handled and resolved to the customer satisfaction quickly and efficiently. The engagement, again, I've mentioned this, commenting, replying, responding on behalf of the client. You might have an agreement with your client to just do some basic engagement, which would be like retweeting other people's tweets or sharing other people's posts from Facebook, thanking the customers, engaging in the customer support responses. One of the most basic things that you can do in terms of engagement is go through and click like on all of the responses that you get on your client's Facebook page. And now there's even the threaded replies, so you actually could reply as well. But just one very, very basic way to let someone know that you saw their response and that you appreciate that they took the time to comment on the post that you made on Facebook is to just simply click the like button on their comment on Facebook. Some more advanced would be if your client would have you participate in a Twitter chat on their behalf. If you post as a page on other pages on Facebook, and then definitely approving and responding to blog comments that happened on their website is a more advanced task that you might complete in the engagement in the engagement category. Moving on to content creation, whether you're just providing guidance on the blog, audio, photo, or video content, whether you're helping them develop graphics for their Facebook page or their Pinterest, updates, you could be just project managing their outsourcers. For instance, when I get these graphics made, I don't actually do them myself. I have outsourcers that do that, or sometimes on the Pinterest graphics, I just find somebody on Fiverr who can make them for me. And again, I'll show that to you later in the training. But you might just be managing those different outsourcers. But then also, depending on your skill level, you might be assisting in the development. If you've got writing skills, or you've got graphic design skills, or you have previously worked in video editing, then this might be a great way for you to add or upsell in the content creation category and earn a little extra from this client by providing an additional service, which is assisting in the content creation. Now, again, you could do this yourself, or you could include this as part of what you charge for and outsource it. Either way, just work out with your client whether they're going to be handling it and you're just going to provide guidance on what types of content you'd like to see, the format that you need it in, all of those kind of things, or if you'll be managing it yourself, whether that means actually doing the development yourself or outsourcing it. Okay. Now, again, blog management, it's not something I do very often, but for clients that want to be completely hands off, we can manage their plugins and their updates, ensuring that their blog is backed up consistently. You can set up some plugins to do that automatically. Remember, approving and managing blog comments and replying to those comments. Most often what we might be doing is posting or scheduling their content to publish on their blog and tracking some of the stats using Google Analytics. So we're tracking the amount of traffic that's going to their blog, particularly from social media, because that's something that we're being measured on as we're building this audience in social media. When we post a link to their blog, how many people go visit their blog. And of course, you want to ensure that social components like share buttons and like buttons and tweet this buttons and pin it buttons are all up to date and working with all the social channels. And that is something where I keep an eye on that for my clients no matter what, because it benefits me in the long run, whether they're paying me for blog management or not. As I'm going to their site and I'm going to share content from their site, I go ahead and take a look occasionally and make sure that all of those features and plugins and buttons and things are still working properly, so that I get the maximum benefit when people come to their site, that they can easily share and comment on the blog, because that looks good for me, the social media manager. And if there's something to fix, then either I talk to the client. If I'm the person responsible for fixing it, then I see what I can do to get it fixed by hiring somebody, or if it's simple enough, I can generally fix it myself. Or do they have a web person that they use, or somebody in-house already that works for them that manages getting those kinds of things fixed? For Facebook ads and contest management, that would consist of actually, doing the research and creating the ads, setting up the ads and testing them, monitoring the campaigns for progress and keeping your finger on the pulse of what's working and not working, making changes as necessary. And the same holds true for the contest management. It would be setting all of that up and monitoring it, making sure it's going well, answering any questions, doing the promotion for it, and making any updates or changes to the contest that's necessary. And then, of course, as with everything, one of the things, that's not listed here is providing a wrap-up of those Facebook ad or contest campaigns to the client when those campaigns have completed. Now, a client that hires me for consulting, first of all, just so as I mentioned earlier, that all of my monthly packages have some consulting. It just depends on the level of service that they purchased is the degree to which I consult. So my clients in my big packages, I'm available to them to answer questions via email. We generally meet monthly, but I work one-on-one with their team, or someone from my team works one-on-one with their team quite often, but I do strategy for them at least once a month, and we meet once a month to discuss our progress and what we'd like to see happen next month. People in smaller packages may not get quite that level of hands-on. For me, that means while we may still meet monthly to review, I'm not re-strategizing and coming up with new campaigns every month based on, what they've got going on. I might do that more quarterly. But again, like I mentioned in the beginning, what you don't want to have happen is you don't want to get yourself stuck in these fixed packages. So you really need to, again, listen to the client and see what they need, and then propose a package that is going to benefit both the client and you. Some clients just have me on a consulting retainer, so that means I'm not doing daily maintenance. They're not in a monthly maintenance package. All they want to do is pay for a few hours every month to ask me questions or have me train their team or maybe do a little bit of research for them. And so they would pay a flat fee every month just to have access to be able to email me questions or hop on the phone with me at my convenience. And those are actually my favorite packages to sell. I love doing those. I often sell those on the back end of a fixed consulting package, maybe where I went in-house for a day and a half, and then after that, for a few months, they would buy a consulting retainer so that they could follow up and ask questions, and I'd still be available to help their team. On-call consulting is the most expensive consulting that I do, and so that means they're not paying me a monthly retainer. They're not in a monthly maintenance package, and somebody just says, hey, I want to get on the phone with you and pick your brain for an hour. That is my most expensive consulting, whereas a retainer is kind of like a gym membership, use it or lose it. On-call is when you pick up the phone and you say, okay, can you stop what you're doing and come help me? In-house consulting, we're missing an L there, consulting. In-house consulting, I've mentioned, right? That is me flying to your place of business or driving to your place of business and training your team and working with your staff directly on your premises. And in consulting, I give you guidance on everything from your content to your contests to your ad campaigns to incorporating your promotions to your audience building and your customer support and your reputation management. I mean, basically, I would review all of these different pillars of social media management with the team, and I would help create the checklists and the processes that their team are going to follow moving forward. To be quite honest, in-house consulting works very, very similarly to that audit that they or the evaluation that they could buy from me. But basically, I do that and I take it in-house and then I work with them one-on-one to actually implement that stuff versus just doing a web meeting and it being very hands-off. In-house consulting, is very expensive and you're not going to have a lot of clients that can do it. It's generally an enterprise or corporate level client who can afford to do something like that. And you really need to be well positioned as an expert to land those types of clients, but it's definitely not out of reach. And you should be open to that and keep looking for those types of clients because they're really great clients to work with, and there's good follow-up opportunities to have them on a retainer once you've done some in-house consulting. And basically my job as their consultant is to keep them updated on the new technologies, keep them updated on the changes, what's working, what's not working. But then again, my favorite part of that is that my team or myself is not responsible for doing the daily implementation of it. We don't have to bother running the reports. All of that is on their client's hands. All I have to do, like in the retainer package, is look at the reports and look at everything that their team is doing once a month and give them feedback. And I can do that on the phone in an hour, or I can do that, via email. And so it's very hands-off. And ultimately, you want to incorporate some of this into your business so that you're not doing the daily management forever, right? You want to move to some consulting and some training when you can. All right, so those are all of the different types of things that you can kind of mix and match in your different packages. So how do you mix and match them and how do you price them? These are, again, suggestions. I don't want you to get stuck in these fixed ideas of how you need to package your services. But just to give you an idea, or again, a place to get started, a place to jump off from, a basic package would be, I would charge between $500 and $1,000 monthly. This would be a small package that I would manage no more than 3 profiles, preferably 2. But again, see what your client needs. I would provide that basic profile management that we discussed where I'm checking for spam, responding to messages, making sure that the profile is cleaned up and everything. I would distribute their content and I would post 1 to 2 status updates per day. Maybe one of those would be a piece of content from their website and another one might be a link to whatever happy hour specials or something that they've got going on that day or that week, and help them with their customer service. And so this is, again, a very basic package where if you have a customer that's only spending $500 to $1,000 a month with you, that's all they've got to invest, then they're not really wanting to take a very proactive approach to social media, especially if we're looking at something like 3 profiles, where you might be doing their Twitter, their Facebook page, and their Pinterest account or something like that. So again, in here, you're not creating any content. You're not really doing any reputation monitoring or management. You're basically doing the bare minimum here. This is a very defensive strategy, but the benefit to the client is that they can be active and involved in social media, and it can be completely hands off for them. So for those clients who know that they need to be here or are feeling some guilt about their participation in social media, or they have their profiles set up but they haven't been consistently maintaining them, they will reach some new customers. They will engage their current customers. So there are benefits to them, but just so you know, this is more of a, for you, this is more of a defensive strategy. This isn't the kind of package where you're going to go sell them how many thousands of new followers you're going to get for them every month. You don't want to overpromise in this package. You want to make sure that you're offering this package to the client that is budget conscious, has limited resources, but definitely wants to be involved in participating in social media, whether it's their motivation is they just want to look cool and hip, or somebody keeps telling them that they need to do it and they're tired of hearing it, or they feel like they're neglecting some part of their marketing, or whatever their pain point is that they want to participate but they don't want to give it a huge investment. The basic package is a great package to put somebody who fits into any of those categories that I just mentioned into a basic package. Now the business or the small business package could be anywhere from $1,000, $1,500. It could even go up to $2,000 a month. It really just depends on what you sell. And again, I sell a couple of these. I don't really sell a lot of these anymore, but again, they get all the benefits of the basic package. And if they want to, I can maintain up to 2 additional networks in the basic package. Or if we stick to the 2 to 3 profiles, which is what I would recommend that they do instead of adding 2 more profiles, then on those 3 profiles or 2 to 3 profiles that we're already working on, we can increase the engagement. We can do a little bit of that audience building that we talked about. We can turn on the very easy to do Google Alerts for the reputation monitoring, and we might be able to increase a little bit the content distribution. So basically, they kind of have 2 choices in this small business package. They can either get the same service that they were getting in the basic package, but just add a few more networks, or they can keep the same amount of networks, but basically double the amount of work that's being done on their profiles. And so most of the time I'm suggesting that they go with the latter, unless it's just a client who feels like they need to be everywhere at all times and participating in all the social networks, okay? This is a good middle of the road, good, quote, best value package, because they're getting a little bit of everything. They will see some new customers coming in from it. They will get a little bit of time with you each month to talk about what's working, what's not working, hear about their promotions. They'll get plenty of attention every day in each of the different pillars of social media, which are the reputation, the audience building, the engagement, the customer support, the content distribution, all of those pillars that we went through. They'll get a little bit of time in each of those. And so this is probably one of the most friendly packages, and this would probably be the one that I would say around $1,500 a month. This would be one that you would be offering often to your many different clients that you come across. And then the enterprise level package, this will be for your bigger clients, your corporate type clients. You've heard me refer to this as the celebrity package. I do that often. I call it that when I'm speaking to personal brands like speakers, authors, coaches, right? This is the deluxe, the Mac Daddy package, whatever you want to call it, your platinum package. This is the one where you're really kind of stepping in as the social media manager, the team member. I interface with these clients regularly. They have open access to me via email. We do Skype chats occasionally. We have a monthly meeting where we strategize what's coming up for the next month. So they get everything that's included in that small business package. They can add the 2 additional networks when they get here. The blog maintenance could be included, or some blog maintenance could be included, mostly because we're handling content creation here. And so if I want to go ahead and schedule it myself, I can do that. We're doing reputation management, so we've got the monitoring and the reports running, and if something comes up, we can help them craft their response. And they have the addition to add some Facebook ads or contest management. Now, I put here for the price $1,500 and up monthly, but to be quite honest, I charge at least $2,500 a month for this package. That's kind of the entry level. And this goes anywhere between $2,500 a month to $5,000, just depending, again, on which pieces get included, which pieces are not included, and how much and how many networks we're doing in each. But $2,500 would really be my entry level here. You may find it where you're selling this around $1,500, $2,000, and when you get really good at selling these things, you can sell them on up to about $5,000 a month for an enterprise package. Okay. At that point, though, you really need to be delivering, be very confident in your results, and be delivering solid results to the client. Be somebody who's writing a check every month for $5,000, whether it's a corporate client or whether it's a solopreneur who's got a celebrity level brand. They are definitely going to want to see some results from that. And I'll, of course, show you the implementation here, but you need to be really confident in your own skills so that you are delivering on everything that you promise. And this is a big package with a lot of advanced strategies and tactics in it. So this might be one that you want to build up to, but definitely get to it. And don't think that this is unattainable. This is definitely attainable, and it's something that you want to get to and want to be selling within your first year for sure. The sooner you feel confident enough to get out and sell it, the better. So that's really something that you kind of need to work out for yourself. But it is definitely something to strive towards. And like I said, my entry level here is the $2,500, but I have sold this package on up to $5,000 a month very, very easily to some of my corporate clients that I've worked with. Your one-time services for you guys, you want to start them around $500, whether that be for your evaluation or your roadmap. I charge about $1,500 for that evaluation, between $1,500 and $2,500 now. When I started, I only charged about $200 for it. I'm recommending that you guys charge around $500 for it. Some social media managers I've seen have done the evaluation or roadmap for free as a lead gen activity. So they'll do the evaluation for free in order to get the client in the door. Any of your one-time services you could theoretically do for free and throw it in as a bonus or as something that you're set up a custom Facebook tab or Facebook app for them for free in hopes that they'll come on as a monthly maintenance client, or help them create a new cover image or something as a way to get a meeting with them by helping them with some of their graphics. So the good thing about these one-time services is they can be revenue generating for you, but they can also be used as freebies or upfront giveaways to try to either get a meeting or to get a client to move further down your funnel by helping them with something for free or even low cost. Maybe you tell them that you normally charge $500, but if they sign up today, you'll do it for $50 or something like that. Okay, so you got to get good at listening to your client, knowing kind of what their hook is, and then being able to offer your services. Do you offer it at full price, or is this the kind of thing where you could use it to help get them in the door? And that would be more profitable for you later, is to take a little less up front and land them in your monthly maintenance package. Your monthly maintenance package or your monthly consulting retainers, when you get there, are going to be your most lucrative packages because, again, people are paying you month after month after month after month for these things. So you definitely are always looking for what's the way to sign somebody up for one of my recurring subscription type packages. But so let's talk a minute about customization. I've mentioned several of these points, but I just want to reiterate them here as we wrap up now that we've looked at all of the features and all of the different pillars of social media and all of the different tasks that you might be doing and sort of how to package them, is that you really do need to be listening to the market, see what is selling, what your competitors are selling, talk in the groups amongst yourselves and find out what packages people are buying and they're not buying, what services are they buying and not buying. For instance, this new package of creating these visual graphics for people, particularly the ones that they'll use on Pinterest and Facebook and on their blog that look like little quotes with images, that's something that's relatively new. It's only been something over the past year that has been a service that we've been providing. Prior to that, it wasn't a service that the market was demanding. So that's a benefit to you if you stay engaged in our social media manager groups, or if you're involved in our social media manager mastermind. You'll have access to speaking with other social media managers about what is they're selling and what's working, what's not working in the market right now. The second thing is then listen to your specific customer to find out what do they actually need. Don't just try to sell them what you think they need. Listen and find out what's important to them in their business. What are their objectives? Where are they trying to go? You know, sometimes I tell clients that they're not ready for social media, or that social media isn't the answer to the problem that they're looking for. There may be some other online techniques that they should be using. So don't always just try to be selling, selling, selling. Actually take the position of listening to your customer, finding out what they need, and then helping them develop a solution to actually get there. If your service can fulfill that, then great, it's a natural fit. If not, don't try to sell them into your business, sell them a package just to grow your own business, okay? When you're putting those different packages together and creating the price points and all of that, feel free to add or remove services as needed. You'll know for sure what's needed because you'll be listening to your client, so you'll know what services they need and which ones they don't. And then feel free to bundle services. You'll see in the agency document, which I have a PDF for, and then I have an editable document that you can also use. You'll see that I put some stuff together called a launch plan, which includes the roadmap. It includes the technical setup. It includes a couple of services like that put together in what I call a launch plan, where I can bundle them and give them a bit of a discount because they're buying more than one service at the same time. And then we've talked about ways to give them some upsells or to sell them into additional services. And you can partner again with those web designers, those SEO firms, mobile marketers, local marketers, people who do content creation like blog writing, graphic design, video creation. There's all of these different services out there, from like the whiteboard service, video design services like Cellimations and some of the other ones that are out there, to hiring people on Fiverr, to hiring some people who do WordPress web design. Maybe they've taken Ori's Make WordPress Easy course, or maybe they do mobile marketing because they've been in Laura's Mobile Local Ninjas course. Whatever it is, there's different ways that you can create some optional products and services for your customers, and you'll do this when you create a proposal for them. Okay. For you to know when you're creating your I have so many typos in this, it's a little bit embarrassing. Creating your services for them, here's what you need to know. You need to set your limits, though, and you need to stick to them. So when you do create that proposal for them, what you want to do is you want to make sure, and we talk about proposals a little bit later on in the training, so don't worry about that too much. When you create the proposal, clients are always going to be trying to get more out of you than what you promised them that you can do. They're always going to be trying to push the boundaries and test where you're willing to give and where you're not willing to give. So make sure that you create that proposal and then you stick to it. And as your clients try to ask for more, try to press on you to do more than what you've promised, or to get more work out of you than what they're paying for, make sure that you reinforce the boundaries that you've created in your proposal. Okay. Now, I've included some sales materials for you that you can modify and use. So please take a look at the flyer and the PDF, and you can edit those up and use them however you'd like, whether you create an online video like the example that we provide in this module, or whether you use that PowerPoint in person when you're sitting face-to-face with a client. Change that up so it reflects your brand and your services and your packages and your prices. But definitely make sure that whatever you do, you focus on your strengths. Okay, so wherever you are right now, whatever you feel confident doing, those are the things that you want to focus on selling. Do not try to do it all. Do not try to promise a client that you can do things that you don't feel confident doing, that you've never done before. Or if you do, let them know, yeah, I'm willing to give that a shot, but I haven't really done that for a client before, so maybe you give them a little bit of a discount in that area. Or maybe you do take a leap out and say, well, I haven't done that before, but I'm fairly confident I can figure it out, and this is how much I'm going to charge you to do it. That's something else. But do not try to be all things to all clients, because if you're not confident in what you're doing, if you're not skilled, it will eventually turn out badly, sort of, for both of you, okay? So outsource what you can in order to back that up. So find partners to work with, because there's plenty of work for everybody. So if a client does need something done that you are not skilled in, you don't actually have to tell them no. You could tell them, yes, let me check on that and I'll get back to you. And go into the groups or go into the mastermind and find a partner who can provide that service, and find out what it costs to do that, and then split, make a little bit of profit for yourself without having to do anything. Outsourcing is a great way to make a little extra money on your clients but not have to do the work, okay? Bottom line though, like I mentioned, do not get stuck in fixed solutions for every customer. Make sure that your proposals and your packages that you're creating really speak to the client's needs, and that you're not trying to push them into, I don't know how many times I go in behind other social media managers who have tried to pitch a client, and they're just trying to stick them into some package that they put every client into. Whether they're similar, whether they have the same same features and same benefits and same tasks that are in there, you want to make sure when you're speaking to the customer that they feel like you've created a tailor-made solution just for them, okay? So you want to go on and watch the other videos in this module, and then after this, you're going to want to move on to Module 4, which is all about actually going out and finding clients to sell into all of these different services that you've just created.